Okay, good afternoon. Before the lecture discussion, this issue for market right? Uh, for publishing good journals, you need to have this now for your study. Because most of you are using single source data, right? Single source data. So you can have to pay a paper. This is a very good data. This journal has an effect of 20. The number one journal is information system. And then all information like. So next we want to look at. Okay, so this is some suggestion. This is a editorial paper we started writing about common method bias in 2020. Yeah. So this is a Q1 journal in Scopus. It's a free journal. We started this in 2017. And in 2020, it became Scopus Q3. Then in 2021, it became Scopus Q1. Because of our editorial. Our editorial is long study. One of the editorial we took on sample size has more than 1,000. This is the editorial we wrote on common map the suggestion of so these are the two things you can do. If you cannot have an additional variable part of design, like performance objective, you have annual report. Now you have primary data, secondary data to do validation. If you don't have that, then you should have a marker reference. Okay. Most people don't know this. Most examiners also don't know. Most supervisors also not familiar with this. We have been doing single source data for all our lives, okay, including me. But luckily I started to travel, and then I submit to good judge. For long time. but not, I'm not saying when people do it in currently, when it is used. So think about it. Okay. So if you have to look at a paper, how to do this, I think in the folder I gave you, and you have a recent paper. Which literally are number 5, right? And I've been talking about this for a couple of years. Unfortunately, every time I do workshop, we want me to show a template. So connection, right? No template cannot see. So I actually wrote this paper how to present your result in a paper and a thesis. For mark paper, there is a we have an example how to present. For okay. Next, you want to look at the issue called measurement. Okay. Now, for measurement, now we have two types of measurement. One is called the reflective measurement. The one is called the formative measurement. But most of you are doing this, right? Reflective measurement. Like data, speech. Measurement. When they do measurement in your questionnaire, right? After you collect the data, some of your questionnaire doesn't work very well, right? You still didn't do it right. Your loadings are not very good. Do you know why? Respondent can get confused. This is the sort of why your item doesn't work well. Problem is what we call as the responder. You didn't choose the correct responder, or you chose the responder who didn't have the understanding. That's why the item didn't work well. Yes, but this one you should be able to address by doing something. You have a population and then the sense color. You should not have a problem with this. Number 2 is your instrument. Okay, people didn't understand your question. So that's why we have a pilot test, free test, whatever test, right? That's also the same, the second. That's why it's called the measure. This is when you ask people to collect data on behalf, like enumerator. You need to do the trading. Because the enumerator also can input the answer with the facial extraction, right? That can be done. This one we can do so because this is when and where you collected your data. You have collected your data during pandemic, result maybe because of the pandemic. This one we cannot. But this fundamental instrument we cannot use as a reason or problem with your machine. In your limitation data, right? You cannot write. Right? You have already done all the part. Right? So when we do management, we have this is the main variable. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the items that we use to measure the variable. Okay. Here we have 4 items. Here we have 6 items. Most of these items we are actually taking from an instrument that is already public info. So when you adopt or adapt the instrument, look for good journals in your area. Okay. They have already undergone many times testing, so you should be safe. So this is where we will have this issue of reflective current form. So let's say you have a model like this. We have 4 indicators to measure performance and 0.322, 0.219, 0.893, and 0.9445 is the loading. These are called loading. These are called loading. What will you do with this loading and this one? This one. If you scroll across, then you drop it. You did it, right? Right. This is so profit. Yeah. Okay, but can you measure performance without sales and profit? By you deliver happy. So the person who taught you accounting, we should them data. They didn't tell you, right? You cannot measure performance without profit and sales. That's why you deliver. You didn't think, And this is the problem with driven by numbers.
Yes, this what process says.
Because we are trained like that. You have good training because the instructor actually managed to brainwash you. Just look at the number. Anything less than 0.5, you delete. Anything more than 0.5, you delete. Right? Less than 0.5, more than 0.5.
Is that a metric in terms of robotics? In terms of the coefficient, minimum coefficient is 0.5?
No, it's 0.7. Actually, the number is 0.708.
Cooling.
That one compared. So bigger or slowly is 0.5. We call this online people boleh nampak. When we run like this is the first part, this is the ideal part. Bigger loading is 0.5. The other problem is when you say loading back, what is loading? Which one? Every time half loading, what is loading? Loading sum. Loading sum. Usually the white one they do that. And what is loading? This is loading slum. They are not answering it. This is the problem. Loading is actually a correlation. Correlation. So if you square this correlation, you get an answer. It is called VP. This variance extractor. Variance extractor. It is 0.5, you only explain it. It is 5%. This is not a good idea. Not a good idea. 0.6, you get 36%. 0.7, you get 49%. That's why I came up with a magic number called 0.708. It is 0.707. When you square it, it's 0.499. That's why we round it up to 0.702. This one will be slightly more than 0.5. This is what we consider as a good loading. Okay? But what will happen is we will have this item. Let's say we have three items. Like we have three items. What's the item? Is on blue green. 0.5, 0.7, and 0.9. So you see here, these two items are more than 0.7, but this item is 0.5, right? Okay. But when you square it, it is 0.25, 0.49, and 0.81. So if you take the average, now you become, which is called the average. So if you take this 1.5 divided by this, get 0.52. So this is how you calculate the AD from your loading, PE and AD. So the requirement is it must be more than 0.5. This loading is not very good. But we can still keep them because there's another loading which is higher. And that's how you decide whether to keep or not. 0.5 to 0.7 also good. That's how you decide. Okay. That's how this translate.
So you go back to this. You have the 0.5 to represent profit sharing constants. Then what how you treat it?
No, this is okay because here if this becomes lower, let's say this one is 0.7.
Yeah.
What I would say is this one will change. This one will become 0.499. Will be 123 divided by 3, then 0.41. This is less than 0.5, right? What you have to do is you have to go back and delete this. So the delete this item average will be 0.5. No, choose your one. But when you delete this item, the calculation will change. These two numbers will go up. Okay, so that's why we delete the item. So this is how you have been doing. But not necessarily correct. Because that was the training we got. The problem with this software is They don't know your management. They don't know your management. Software only understands correlation. They only understand correlation. So what they are saying is, these two items are correlated. These two items are correlated. All four items don't go together. The software didn't ask you to delete. It didn't. You made the choice. Right? So it only tells your story that these two items are correlated. These two items are correlated. Now we can break them into two, right? Now the software will give you different numbers. And this is where we have an issue called unidimensional versus multidimensional. So before you do this, you must have the saying that this can be separated.
If you want to do this for the EMA, we find out.
So we no longer do it. But now when we do this, we can also
This is an actual result.
yeah, we can then if you run it, then we get a different result. So that's why the software will work based on the way you draw the model.
So if you do this, would it be considered as two different variables?
There's one variable we do that in. Then must do the same. It didn't change. Huh? This is one way of re-specifying your model. This can be done, but this was not taught to us many years ago. Huh? What the instructor tells you is anything less than 0.5 you did. You don't have item that. And that's a training we got. Doing this component in diagram. Two dimension.
So you are trying to conceptualize these dimensions become one structure, is it?
You can do performance, right? But you have two dimension, financial, non-financial, whatever you want. You can do like that. That is what it is just.
So I do this to change the result fit.
The subfield will change, the measurement will change, but the variable is still the same. Still performance. Okay. So this is some of the things we are not taught about. No? Okay. After a while, I realized this. When I start traveling, simple they have that understanding of measurement. They're actually telling you should not be just deleting because the numbers are low. Okay. You also have some simple clarity. Okay, so when we do modeling, this is something many students don't understand. You must understand this clearly. When we draw a model like this, right? One variable with three items, right? This is unidimensional. They don't have dimension, right? They have one variable with three items. This is called reflective because the arrow is going out. Here we have arrow going in, right? That is, and they are called formative. This is unidimensional, this is unidimensional. Okay? Here we have a variable for performance, multi-dimensional. So 3-dimensional. This variable don't have item, they have item here. This is first order, this is second one. So this understanding must be there. When you start drawing in a software, you must also draw like this. What many people do is they take all the line items and see there. That one also not correct. That one also not correct. Yeah? That's why we need to know the management. When I write chapter number 3, you have I will measure performance, but I have 3 dimensions in performance. Dimension number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay. This is a big problem. With many places that they don't know how to do this.
Okay, can you just explain the formative?
Okay, the formative we have said
How many dimensions are?
now here we got 3 dimensions. Here we don't have dimension. This is item.
Still, you need
Unidimension item. And here we have multi-dimension, which are reflective. Okay. So what it means like reflective or configuration. Just now we had a model break this way, right? Okay. This way is correlation. But now we put all 4 together, right? So now we see all the 4 items, right? Which one is the most important predictor of performance? And you have to live in them. You have to live in that. But now the software tells you a different story. Yeah? The software doesn't understand the way you draw. Just now we draw them reflective. So it thinks all 4 are exactly the same thing. But now they understand they are measuring differently. There are 4 different things. So this is the most important predictor followed by this. Here they are called weights, no longer correlates. They are running regression, remember? These are 4 independent variables, this is a dependent. So that's why it is different. So the software will calculate the numbers differently the way you draw. This is also available now for research. Previously, we don't have this. 5-10 years ago, everything was reflected, but now it's changing.
So when you do the analysis, do you run it as a whole model by itself?
All together. Okay. Later I can show you that. But this is something we can do with this software called Smart PLM. But we cannot do this with many other software. Most we can, but there's a workaround called Mimic model. We can. This one thing. Okay, so this measurement that you can do now. One is reflective, the other one is formative. Reflective items, they are interchangeable. Interchangeable. That means you delete this item or you delete this item, the score will not change. So the score is influencing the item. Okay, here we cannot because the item influences the scores. If you delete item 1, the score will change. You delete item 3, score will change. Okay, now this is formative. So like here. If you are 90%, you will be high on this item, this item, this item, right? If you are a 90%, if you are not a 90%, you will be low, low, low. That's why we call them reflected. Okay, reflected. Okay, here we have dot loss, rewards, and reflected. We want to measure life trend, right? Life trend is 0, right? This trend is 0, but if you have all 3 incidents together, your life trend will be the highest. If you don't have any of that, life trend will be the lowest. The item is actually influencing the score. Then we cannot, right? Because these are all 3 constant contributing. Okay. So now the measurement changes, right? To formative measurement. So if you the question is, can you delete any of the item in your instrument? If you cannot, then you are no longer reflecting. You're no longer reflecting.
So if you cannot, then you change the activity. Okay.
Now lots of measurement is changing. Previously they were doing reflective, but now they're changing to form because of this understanding. Okay, so the same variable cost and reflection. In this model, they are measured reflective, right? You're happy with the hotel, you appreciate the hotel, right? You're happy with the hotel, you will look forward to staying in the hotel. You're happy with the hotel, you recommend to others. All 3, right? But here we have service is good, personnel is friendly, rooms are clean. They are measuring different things, right? You cannot delete any of that. If they have all 3 high, then the satisfaction will be higher. All 3 low, satisfaction will be low. Okay? That's how you decide whether the items can be deleted or not. Okay. That's reflective. The only problem is this. When you write chapter number 3, most of the time you are writing chapter number 3 based on literature, right? Because previously they used this as reflective, I also follow. But now they are saying you are also wrong. They are saying many years ago they did it wrongly. How wrong is like this? This is a collection of 1,461 papers published in this top journal. Journal of Consumer Research, Journal Marketing. These are all the top journals in the world. What we found was 1/3 of the papers were wrongly modeled. They were supposed to be informative, but they modeled as reflective. And that's how serious they are. These are top journals. We have not come to Malaysian journal yet. Top journals 1/3 were wrong. Malaysian journal maybe 75% wrong. Next one is saying now. Previously they did it wrongly, now they are so following that. So now no longer citation. You always say, okay, I take this instrument from Ali 1999. Now they take question, Ali is also wrong. Can you explain whether it's reflective or not? And I get that kind of question in my review paper. And I submit papers with journal. We have a variable called service quality, right? Because most of us use this as a reflecting, right? The 5 dimension, but it's not reflecting. Some there's going to be a paper in 2005 that model service quality has found. There's a paper called Wilson and Todd. I also do reflective light also. And 2018, I think I submitted the paper to this journal called Enterprise Information System. One review was okay, another review said service quality is found. So I got very upset. Everybody is doing the same way I did. I rather all the 2017, 2018 papers, everybody did service quality as reflected. So I said, everybody doing the same way I did. What's your problem now? And then the second review came back and said, I still have a problem. And then he said, okay, please read this paper by a guy called Diamond Topolis. And I started reading. Then I said, maybe I was wrong, but I cannot change the arrow now, right? Arrow was going this way, now I change the arrow. This is called reverse engineering. Cannot do it. I tried to justify again. Second review. Second review, he was more precise. I said, please read this paper. By Wilson and Todd, right? They say it's already model service quality and formatting. Then I had no more reply. That's the end of the story. Because he's already telling me 15 years before you started the research, people already modeled this as format. The paper got rejected. Problem with us is we read selectively. And this guy gave me some reading material. I started reading. Then only I realized we actually can do different kinds of math. So before you start, you have to think about your method, whether they are reflective or formative. Some software cannot address formative method. Then you have to think about the software like
the time SPS don't have the
don't have especially today don't have.
Yeah.
Only this software called Smart PLS, Walk PLS, they have reflective and formative.
2005 really have. What?
No, they were doing with AMOS. They were doing with AMOS, but in AMOS, you have to do formative, right? There's a term called needing multiple indicator, multiple software. You must also have, let's say, 3 items formative, right? You must collect another 2 or 3 items reflective. Then only the software will run in AMOS. Right? So this is what now. And now shall they tell you, but they don't have. Then actually they won't show because not many people do this kind of one. But they tell you these are things you can do if you want to. They actually expose it. Yeah, this kind of vivid modeling is more challenging because you need to collect a variable. Like just now we had this. I did it, right? If I want to do this model, right? I already have this formatting, right? I also need to collect these 3 items and put here. Then I run the analysis. These 3 items, right? Reflective, remember? So I put this reflective, right? So reflective is multiple indicator. This one is multiple causes. That's what it means. If you don't want to do this, now in Smart PLS we can do formatting. And we run the model in Smart PLS. Those some changes happening with the line. Okay, for those who are doing content management, this is the requirement called the global item. I usually get lots of emails from PhD students. I already collected my data. I have a formative management. I don't have a global item. My reply is always straightforward. God bless you. Hopefully your examiner knows what. Because already passed that stage, remember? In your questionnaire design, you need to have one item. Like just now we are measuring satisfaction, right? We ask one question, overall, how satisfied are you? Taking everything together. We are not interested in the dimension. That item will be correlated. So this variable is formative, this variable is single item, right? It should be correlated. That's the idea of this step for redundancy. Yeah. This was developed by Vinci in the 1990s. For formative management, we don't have ADE, we don't have CR. So the only way you can show that the formative management is valid by doing this.
In fact, we didn't do this one, sir. Directly, we also can get pathway.
Aspect here, now this one is another single item here, right? But we don't have this, they cannot do that. We can only do this, cannot do this. So you cannot show your measurement is valid.
So are you saying that variable can be represented by a single?
Yes. You listen a bit,
It's not unique minimum or.
That's the literature measure lah. Okay, this guy, I think these are the authors, maybe you want to look at it. This authors, these are the main papers. These two guys, Berquist and Rossiter, they are big names in single item measures. They are saying single item measures also can be done. But unfortunately, like in Malaysia, if you do single item, your examiners will kill you. That's a training we got. But I can understand why. Yeah? If you have read Hare's book, right? Parents try to Hare as a single item. Nobody questions it, right?
Because the technique,
But his model, he has a single item for satisfaction, customer satisfaction. One item. But when we use one item, they say, oh, you're wrong. Why is it? You never say, hey, it's wrong, right? So that's what it's saying. This is the literature that says single item actually is better. You reduce stress because instead of asking 5% about satisfaction, you just ask them overall how satisfied. Finish that. You can. But because of the reliability issue, I want multiple items to show reliability, right? That's why we were trained like that, Masti Kromba Alpha, right? Masti Kromba Alpha means I get the very upset, right?
Can we actually justify by saying that hair and this?
Yeah, you can. Because there are many actually, there's a guy called Diamond Sopolus. He has been writing a lot about this. They have run some simulation. They say single item works very well. But you don't have reliability. For single item, you don't have consistency, remember? But it works. It works. But there are many papers written with single item. But unfortunately, our training is must have multiple items because we like to see Kromba Alpha. That's a problem. So I cannot help you.
Please, a big challenge.
Yeah. Difficult to change.
Reasons and
Yeah. Difficult to change. In my department also say, first thing they ask is rely on smart, rely on everything, right? And the one. So that's why I don't recommend single item. You use multiple item. Okay. Okay. So that's for global area. Okay. Next is the multi-dimensional. That is how I showed. We have available for knowledge challenge in 4 dimensions. This is called multi-dimensional. Okay. So here we have only one variable, right?
Yeah.
One variable. One variable here with 4 dimensions. Okay. And we have the same variable with 2 dimensions. Okay. And then we have the same variable unidimensional. Now you can understand, right? The first one, this is multi-dimensional with 4 dimensions. This one is multi-dimensional with 2 dimensions. This is unidimensional because there's no dimension. 8 items to measure this difference. Which one you want to use is up to you. Variable is still the same, right? Variable is still the same, knowledge sharing. Which one you want to use is up to you. For me, I will ask students to use the shortest possible. In the first
Whatever we want to use, we have to make sure that it has the optional definition.
Yes, for administration, given administration time. They will define. Most of the paper they will define, right? Knowledge sharing, keep it. Then only the method. So if you want to use this method, follow this paper. If you want to follow the first one, then you have to have 5 dimensions, 4 dimensions.
okay, but in terms of the result, aspect, would that be the same?
Yeah.
Would you refer the same?
The result will be the same. But only thing, now you have 28 items to measure one variable. One variable, then you have many other variables, right? The question has become very lengthy, then you have respondent, but no one to mark so many items, right? So I don't like to use it. So, you make a choice.
So like.
But 28 items for one variable, then you put all together 100 items. If I give you 100 items, what do you answer? You would, right? But you want your respondent to honestly, truthfully, molecularly, right? For you, different for respondent, them, you can. I want to answer 100 questions, but respondent must answer 100. Say,
Considerably, each of these variable can only have more than 2 or 3 items.
you can. Okay, that's another debate. Many of the old school supervisors would agree. They say one variable must have 10 IDs. No more, that was like 20 years ago. But we still have examples like that. In universities like UIT. Their supervisors will tell the students. One variable, 3 items is not PhD level. Oh my God. Where this supervisor come from? So, I've seen cases. What they do is they borrow items from another variable. Get 3 items, take 5 items, then put 8 items. And then run, all the 5 items they added, throw in. But that's why they still have it. And you, out of the 8 items, you delete the 5 items, right? So it's serious. A lot of items deleting, right? So I don't see that. So 2 items is the minimum. 3 items, 4 items, that's it. Not more than that. Not more than that. Multi-dimensional release. We've seen many students who message me to the Facebook. Once I see the model, I already tell them. I don't think so your variables are unidynamic. One variable with 20 items. Nobody mentions one variable with 20 items, right? So stay. That's 3 years ago. Because at that time we only had from alpha. From alpha, more items, more reliable. But now we are no longer using from alpha, right? Things have changed.
How, because some of those examiners, they are very excited with the number of the items, right? And okay, well, this one we only have 5 items. So if let's say, for example, the original, right, the original scale is actually 10. What's the correct step we have to follow in order to use from 5 or whatever?
Okay.
There's no article done.
You can this is a good paper for number of items. Okay. This lady called Leslie Heidung, she's actually a big name in structural equation model. So what she has done is she has written a paper like this. This is the question she asked. Researchers use single indicators. Which indicators or multiple indicators in structural equation modeling? Then the conclusion is we recommend the use of few gas indicators. 1 or 2 indicators are often sufficient, but 3 indicators may occasionally be helpful. More than 3 indicators are rarely warranted. That's how strongly worded. So you don't need more than 3.
But let's say the original have 8, right? How is it?
I am only using the and I will ask you how did you decide, and then I answer this. There's no reasoning, right? Originally they had 8 items. You should use the 8 items. But if you have somebody who has reduced the 8 items to 3 items, then you take the shorter one. That's how we decide. Not 8 items and then you try to reduce. You have a situation where you have in my area of habitat. Available for internet addiction. In internet addiction, we have a dimension called pornography. Alright. Pornography. Okay. I had a grant for my research, and We want to collect data, and one of the components of visualization is phonograph. Yeah. Before I run the questionnaire survey, I actually invited some of my undergraduate students for a focus group. Then I asked them, if I ask you this question on phonography, will you answer? One Chinese boy replied me like this. I will answer. I will say no, 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 all the way. But I actually get it. You know what? Phonography is illegal in Malaysia. Even if you watch also, you say no lah. You're supposed to say that. Right? You realize? So I actually remove the whole section because of that. I wrote lah. Even if I ask, people will say no. Western countries different. They were right. Whether how critically they watch. But in Malaysia, we were not. So we can do it from focus. Although the measurement has a dimension called phonography, but in Malaysia it's illegal. I can drop that, because I'm saying that in Malaysia it's illegal. So I drop that. Okay. I also to run some focus group, right? And the focus group responder may say, these two items look very similar. And then you can decide to delete one item. But then you can, from the suggestion from the focus, and not you decide.
So from when we do the pre-test, for those the test the instrument already there, we do a pre-test because maybe we change some of the word that are from better understand from the so it is that whole attention that can drop also, right?
During the focus group. During the pre-test, I actually don't ask my students to drop. So sometimes the pre-test they are doing with a smaller number. So they may not be reliable. But when you run with a bigger number, they are okay. From alpha, you only from alpha. Alpha depends on number of items.
What about the
I also say your sample size is very small. Then everybody's following the number that.
See, the thing is this, whenever when we come up with a consumption mode, usually take from different right, in terms of items. And later on, when we actually do treat our items, we actually combine all this, to one and then one for EFA. Then it can be the number of
No, because your other place is very small number, so cannot run unless you have a big number. For EFA to run, you need number of items times 5 minimum.
those items combined.
Minimum sample size is number of items times 5. So if you have 50 items, you need 250 samples to run EFA.
It's like food tests.
Yeah, so that's why nobody does EFA at pilot test. You only run reliability.
So from now you ask them, so still for the PhD or master, you still use one to run direction.
My students don't
Other two are
do because the supervisors cannot defend. But I can defend myself. This number, but some students still want to. They are scared of the identity. Say, okay, it's quick. Then it is no one side, you also. But most of the time when you run your pilot test, right? You are running with 30, right? Yeah, you can imagine after that.
Most of the time I send a them.
No, like this kind of thing. And you can imagine number of the because your beloved supervisors are there. All your beloved supervisor, beloved senior, they also do 30. So everybody is doing 30, so it became a trial number. 30 is a very small number. Cannot trust at all, but you are still running, right? That's why I don't believe in 30 number. So I had a PhD student called Gabriel King. Very smart. He was doing his PhD in a different school. Then I had a fight with the supervisor, and then came to my school. And then when he came to my school, I said, if you keep quiet, I will arrange for your wife. Already collected data, run everything, written 5 chapters. But this is the guy who cannot keep quiet. So even I approached the dean, I just switched to this school, I want to go for my wife. And then the dean called me and asked me, can you bring in his file? he hasn't, he doesn't have a fund. Their school don't have its formal procedure. So he said, bring me the father. So now I have to no choice, right? I have to quickly arrange a proposal defense for him. Bring two of my friends, please come and pass it. Then we go to it. And then he's a kind of student who will answer the same question today. Tomorrow he will ask the same question in a different way. Just to confirm you gave the same answer. This is don't come here. When I want to see you, I come. So when he went to my father, he didn't do pilot test. He didn't do pilot test. So the external exam came and first question was, I have a problem with your reason. You didn't do pilot test. I was very nervous because I thought the student cannot. This is the first time in my life I actually learned from myself. Very well. I did very coolly replied. I said I didn't do pilot test for two reasons. First reason is my respondents are very difficult to find. If respondents are auditors in big four companies, not easy to find. And then the second reason he gave was the one that got me breathing. He said, even if I do pilot test with 30, it will have very low power. That time I should not bad as to and it's actually teaching me something. We always think about the sample size for the final one, right? 85 million. But now you're having 30. So that's how 85 minimum, 85 minimum, 85 minimum. And you're having 30. Hello, minimum is 85. You didn't change the model, right? The same model you are doing with pilot. You are still doing it at the end, right? So at the end, 85 minimum here also 85. I don't know if we go model. Okay. I didn't think about that also. And then I realized what this guy really thinking. What he mentioned was correct, right? You're running with 30, very small number, right? Sometimes you reliable, sometimes it's not reliable, right? Because reliability also dependent on sample size. So that's what I realized. We have some students like that who really think. So that's the reason when you explain like that, the examiner has no problem, right? You cannot answer anything, right? Right. Let's say you have to study CEO, right? When you get some final sample with 30 CEO, you get another 1 year collect 30, right? And then the final one, another 2 years. That kind of situation, no need because the numbers are very limited. But if you are doing individual level, we have 1,000 students, right? Anytime you can do 50 or 100, right? So you can also justify based on the level of it. If you are doing group or you are doing organization, you don't have to do a pilot. It's a waste of 30 companies, right?
Yeah.
The reason why you want to do this pilot test is to see whether people understand your item comprehension. Remember? So you see one or two people go through the method.
Do other type of test.
There are many types of written work. So think about it. So I will give you some methods which you can look at. Don't need to follow template because everybody is following the template, right? So those are the things you can decide. Okay. So if you want to, so since we are already here, there's a page you can visit for. You can go to this webpage called Qualtrics. There are 7 ways to pretest yourself. Okay. In this we have a different understanding. Pilot test is not pretest. Which is also pretest. Anything you do before your final data collection, they are called pretest. Okay. One of the pretests is the pilot test. One of the pretests is the pilot test. When they give you this tablet, right? You see here, and they give you the reason why you do pretest. Okay. The reasoning for pretest, right? These are some of the reasons. comprehension, logic and flow, acceptability, length, introduction. One of the requirements is to write a cover letter, right? Cover letter. When I read the cover letter says it will not require more than 50 minutes. Then after 15 minutes, I only halfway. Then the president will go somewhere else. You realize that it will not require more than 50 minutes. So we say, okay, we have 15 minutes. And halfway 15 minutes already. Throw away. So this is the reason why we do this. During this, you can see the lack of time, right? So there are two such things. Font size and so on. So here, this is the one. The one I asked my student to do is this is the correct stuff. This is the correct stuff. What is meant by quantitative interviewing is you sit with 2 or 3 respondents who will actually answer your question. Final one. And you go through the questionnaire with them one by one. If these 3 people understand the question, then you should not have a problem. I like to do this. Most of my students like to do this. But there's another method. One of the one everybody likes to do is this one, right? See this one? I don't know who that is. I'll tell you a story. There was a girl from Syria. I am my final questionnaire. Prof, can you look at it? Say, okay, you send to me. Then by the time I wrote on the questionnaire and sent it back, she called me. She said, Prof, I am migrated. I thought I was ready. No comment says I'm not even ready. I don't know how the supervisor let them. Was very bad to me. Most they should not even send to an expert with that kind of. She sent to me. So I like to write. My writing is very big. I have a 1.0 class. 1.0. Everywhere I have. So when I write, it's very big. So everywhere I write, I migrate. I can see all the writing. So you wanted me to feel that I'm giving you feedback. These are the things I see. So expert, there are 2 kinds of expert. You know? No, industry don't use they will take the question and you don't know what is the question. Because they are doing different things. First is your topic expert. The person who is doing research in your area. Similar to your topic. Another researcher, right? Okay, somebody will be at that. The second one is the methodology expert. The methodology expert comes in for your scale, your skill method, your instructor. So I have in principle area we have this problem. And they will mark the proposal without making. And then this was the one. This was the skill they student use. And in nursing layer, what they do is you can mark the candidate first 3 chapters without reference. Then they go collect data, they come back with the pilot test result. So this girl happily presented. I already collected data. I have 6 experts. 6 from Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabian people, they are fixated with white people. So for white. Then she listed 6 names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these experts validated like this. And then I'm the expert, right? When I look at the question, I say I will fail you straight away. Answer the question, they didn't say anything. The expert didn't say anything. But one look at the question, I always say no. You see what? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. You have number 2 here, number 1 here. What is the problem with this scale? You agree, you disagree.
So
Here and here we can do, I'm only till the end.
what is
So modulate this game. Okay, only do it so hard. One to put it is okay. Yeah. The center variable is neither agree nor disagree or neutral. Nobody pointed this out and answered the question. My God. So I will fail you now. Because of the scale. Because of the scale. For next year, the center is neutral or strong, neither agree nor disagree. Anybody who does like a scale will already point out. And then 6 experts with all the pilot study respondents. How do you agree? Because it must be organized moderate. Basically, if you have a scale like this, we have a scale where we have not at all, right? Okay. The area or the extent. What comes to is this is at the lowest level, not at all you do. This is at a very high level. In the middle can be moderate. Because this is an increasing scale. Right? Increasing scale. This one is not an increasing scale. So in the middle is actually wrong. So I don't know how they answer the question based on this scale. But it's an answer. Nobody looks at the scale. And it's a problem with the methodology expert. The methodology expert will come in to look at the scaling. And also you skip question or instruct. Not the item. So item is the topic.
You need to recollect the data again.
Yes.
Recollect the data fully.
This one was at the candidate defense. And if you have, they have also defense, they have a candidate defense, then only they could file.
This thing happened at White House?
No, candidate.
No, I said what if this thing happened?
This one is divided by. You have to buy data again, re-analyze it, all. No, 1 year.
When you measure correction,
No, divide by 1 year. After 1 year, you come back. One simple problem, right? So to know quickly, I can identify. I get lots of questions for the. Then so you see that you see there, and then they must ask me to talk. That's why I don't get it. That I like. We are already top sign. Like sign all biology. That one also got problem. There was a student in UTM. He was actually a very reasonable person. When I do spectral validation for you, I will write one hard copy, scan and send you. I will have a scan copy. That is how I work. You can ask any of my students. Next time they say, oh, what you say something, please see my comment. This candidate from UTM actually sent me this questionnaire. Then I wrote there in the first page, this is a hopeless questionnaire. Please read it. He take it as the questionnaire was okay, and then went to proposal. And examiner, the internal examiner is one of my friends. In UTM. So he was telling, oh, from I already. She called me and said, no, please upload this questionnaire. I scanned one, I sent it to her. They looked at my comment. I said, this is totally hopeless. So we also have students like that. So I'm very reasonable, right? So I write that clearly. Then I scan. I take a copy of my phone. I have one scan. Right? So I will have the name of the person. So I can just search and then download and you have to look for a person who actually does it. Then they will actually look at your scaling. I'm not so much interested in items because items are taking from somewhere. This person, that person, it should work well. But the scaling is where we have some sample of like the scale, right? Bipolar, different types. You can actually look at the sample. This one should be addressed at that stage. But unfortunately, this is happening, which is no good. So this is where you can look at the 7. The number 7 is the new one they added. This one. This is a new one added. But Hair has already mentioned this 10 years ago. Straight line. 2014 book, Hair has already mentioned it. And now they recently added number 7. This is called straight lining. Straight lining means they are not reading the question. They just take 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 all the way. Or 3, 3, 3, 3 all the way. But there must be some variation. That one you must read. That's on the number 7. Previously only 6, now I added number 7. In this financially, they say if you have to run before, you should run with at least 50 respondents. This unconventional data collection government. The thing at least 50. But you can run the power later, right? We will calculate the minimum sample size and then follow that. So try to get this.
There's no truth for you. It's purely eyeballing last one.
You know, Excel. You can use Excel as well. Standard deviation. Zero standard deviation. My class, standard deviation. You can run with Excel. This one then. Okay. So that's one thing. So measurement. Okay, this is the sample I'm standing with just now. This is the correct way of doing the analysis. I examined 3 PhD students, all ended up with major correction because of this one. Instead of doing like this, they do like this. This is incorrect. Your measurement goes 4 dimensions, remember? If you draw them like this, the result will be different. If you draw them like this, the software will ask you to delete many of the items. So you will end up deleting dimension from the model. Okay? Cannot do this. You have to draw like this in the software. That's why we need to know unique and multi. This is unique. This is multi. So that's how the software understands the item. So here you will end up deleting this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 items out of the 20 items. Right? Almost half is deleted. If you run like this, none of the item is deleted. So software understand differently. The way they calculate is very different. That's why we need to understand this before we start using the software. Using the software. Okay. So this is a paper of study that's out. This is a journal called information system. Information system research. It's a journal of operation management. Journal of operation management. And the guy who wrote the paper is a guy called Mikko Rompo. We always criticize smart parent papers, right? Mikko Rompo. And he wrote it. When authors describe a measure of their work is frequently run in code statement, such as our measure is selected from citation, we follow a citation. You know the citation, right? Ali at all 1999. Ahmad at all 1999. That is called citation. But the citation should not take the logical and transparent understanding of how well the operationalization captures the underlying outcome. It is not uncommon that a reviewer checks the scientific study and realize that the original measures differ substantially from the measures in this. I see this a lot. And many authors cheat. Right? They took the item from this paper. I go and download the paper. That paper, no item. Right? Or that paper has 20 items, they take only 3 items. I've seen many cases like that. Right? So now if I review papers, I will check the measurement. If the measurement wrong, straight away read it. No need to read the paper. So the measurement is already normal. So when I read the item, I already can make a assessment whether the items are measuring the construct. Remember, you have a construct, you have item, right? When I read the item, I already can match. It is not measuring the construct. Those are things you should be careful.
Not yet particular, they show the item, but they just show the.
And many papers require you to put item at the end or in the paper sample item. I actually do that. So these are some examples. Now they actually writing clearly saying that many people are doing this kind of thing, which is not very good because what will happen is if they publish a paper, you will use their instrument, right? Their instrument is already wrong. You are now using a wrong instrument. So the wrong become wrong. Lah. That's the problem with the literature. So everybody thinks published papers are good, but they are saying no more. Some papers they are not following the standard of writing good. This is one of the papers.
From if the developer got three dimension, given dimension, they could given addition. Is it okay?
I usually don't like that because they usually follow one sort of method. This three dimension comes from this paper, another variable from another paper.
If different variable is fine, okay.
One variable A is from this author, variable B from this author. That's better because what your contribution is putting them together, not the measurement. So when I question design, I'm very careful with my students. Many of my students don't like it. But they already passed the proposal and then they have to do the revision of the question 3, 4, 5. They say my examiner already passed. I am a bigger examiner. Please do the question. Because once you collect your data, cannot go back. Quantitative research, your question is hard. Question is wrong, then you are done. That's why I'm very careful with it. That's one thing you need to think about.
Scale, right? For example, the original scale is actually having 8 items. So there are people who actually manage to simplify and make it 3 items. So the one that I use is 3 items. I cite one 3 item.
Yeah.
I only do cite the original one.
You actually sign the paper, you adopt the item from. You have already simplified the item, you take the simpler.
From some of the article, they didn't show the question, but they show the instrument. We use the instrument develop our question we call and adapt and then and adopt. Okay, so is it you don't need to do the pilot test, you don't need to we need to do pre-test or whatever.
Pre-test you need to do doctor, adapter, whatever. But the concern is if the source don't have the item, you should not use the source. Because they take this item from this author, right? This author don't have item. That already tells you red flag. Because I want to see the item before I decide whether the item does. So I will go and look for the original source and look at the item they list.
But not question there, but you can use the item to develop a question.
No. That one is different. That one is qualitative. People also qualitative. From their interview, they come with item. Here we are not. We are actually adopting from another source. So I want to see the item before I decide.
You mean the question?
Not a question. Actual question. Actual question.
Whole question itself.
Okay. Sometimes the paper show the item in the factor analysis data.
Yeah.
Under the table, they have the question. Many students don't understand it. I have papers published with the item there. This message me, can you send me the question? I say, hello, my items are already in the paper. You can just copy and paste. And now what they want is the questionnaire already nicely formatted with everything. Just send to them, they can collect it. Hello, please. I get lots of emails from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. I saw this paper, very interesting paper. I believe, master, can you send me the question? Okay, so why should I do that for you? I already developed the model with the item already listed for you. You can just copy and paste into a questionnaire standard, right? Okay. But that one also they want to send the nice formatted questionnaire sent to them. They can change name and everything, then send up. That's how lazy people are. I don't like that. But in my training, I actually gave you sample. Remember when I showed you? They already nicely formatted. It's actually available on my website. So what you do is you use that questionnaire, then change the name of the variable, the item, the scale you want to do 5.7 you just change it. You can so this is one of the problems. So previously we have a term called adopted adaptation, right? Now the term has changed. Now the term is called Validated and improvise. Huh? So this one is validated is you follow some scale development procedure. This is two guys everybody's like, huh? Churchill or Mr. Minor. Improvised scale is a dangerous one. Huh? Improvised scale means just was saying, right? 8 items, they take 3 items. And then you follow these 3 items. Who's in trouble? You are laughing. Because it is improvised. It is still published, but they didn't follow a scale development procedure to visual guide. Another practice is they take the item and they look at the highest loading. Then one number, they take the top 3, 4. Yeah, that is also questionable. Taking the highest loading. Previously, there were some suggestions, right? So you have 8 items. Let's say your loading is 0.7. You take anything more than 0.7, and you don't collect. That is also questionable. Should not. Okay. Use the item as it is. Huh? Yeah. So here we have some suggestions whether you want to use 5.7 point and so on. So the first one is so when you do your measurement, these are the component of your one variable, right? You have your item, and you have your scale, okay? And this is where we call them validated scale. These are the 3 items to measure the variable, and this item scale item can be 5.6 point, 7 point. This is how we see your personal design. One variable, how many items? So you want to use the item for item 5 item, it's a choice you make. Okay. Look at the original. The original is 3 items, you take the 3 items. Okay. How many item scale points we have been suggested, right? 5 point or 7 point, anything 5, 6 or 7. Not less than 5, no need to more than 12. There's already a lot of different objects. The other thing is when you do labeling, right? Do you label the endpoints or you label each point in the scale? You label each point or you label the endpoint? Each point. That's better. That's the suggestion. To label each point. That becomes clear. And they also give you that if you are studying different group of people, you can use 5 points, different group of people, 7 points. Those are suggestions given in the document. Reading or 4 items in a scale, where practical. But 3 items also can. Minimum 3 items still is usually recommended. So these are papers that we do some guidelines. This one is the one I was telling you, take only the highest loading, right? You understand, right? This is a lot of people have used this. They have 8 items, you look at the loading, and then the top 5 loading only you take. 3 bottom you did. That's also not recommended. It's questionable. Single item may even be preferable, but I would not suggest that in Malaysia. Single item. I think so. In example, will let you go with single item. We like to see some reliability. Yeah. Okay. Another problem with measurement is this issue of 2 things. One is the psychometric properties. Before you adopt the instrument, look at their validity reliability in previous studies. Second issue is conceptual fit. You understand conceptual fit, right? The same variable has been studied in your study. Okay. You are studying in tennis. The measurement is from large companies, cannot. Okay. We have a variable called market orientation. We have 2 types of measure. One is for the smaller company, the other one is for the bigger company. One is from Nauer and Slater, the other one is from Kohli and Kawasaki. Okay. Once the measurement has interfunctional coordination, which is not suitable for small companies. Interfunctional coordination means you are a big company, you are function. That kind of movement. That's why we should know the concept of it. Okay, the other thing I find very interesting with this paper is previously we cannot use individual level to measure organization. Remember? Right. With this paper tells you you can. And, yeah. Yeah. I will be able to successfully overcome future challenges. This is individual. If you have to measure them at the organization, you change. And the firm will be able to successfully overcome future challenges. Okay. Okay. So this is the justification thing.
So maybe you need to adapt it.
Yeah. And we can cite this, which are the authors scale. It can be done. Scale was developed for individual. We can also change it to organization by changing the item. No? Meaning is still the same. Meaning is still the same. No? So most of my students are using a scale called cognitive rigidity. The cognitive rigidity is I. So I reworded the firm. Item and change the firm. Now they can use the same scale for individual and also organization. Because of this, or else I won't do. Because I also need to be careful. I don't want my students to get in trouble. This is the reason. So if you have this kind of papers, you can justify. Saying that these papers as suggested, you can do. Some individuals organizing. Okay, any questions on this is the part where we talk about this informed consent and all. This is ethical errors. But in Malaysia, most universities don't have, unless you're Australian. In Australian, they have formal procedure. In USM, we don't have. That's why you didn't do, right? We don't have. Now my students are complaining because when you submit to good journal, now they ask for ethical clearance. They say if you don't have the letter, we will not even proceed to read it. Right? That's a good thing you have here. We have ethical clearance, so the student can submit a code. Then they will read it. We don't have unfortunate.
People come on your nights, should you or the periods. Is this the look at the aspects of study? So it's going to somebody here. And there's somebody that's religious on the particular aspect and come back on the state there to say that the way the instructions and he has the power.
Actually, it should not, but that happens also. The same problem we had with US. This person already got an advantage. And then he has already written objective, whatever, and all got grant already. Then the ethical committee is telling you, he's telling the person, you need to rewrite the objective research question. He said, who are you to tell me? I already got my grant, right? You just look at the question and you walk out. Because I already got that. Who are you to tell me to change the objective? I have that problem also. But sometimes because they are from medical, and then I had a review for my research in Africa. I had to do the review for 1 year. Then they said this one not complete, this one not complete. They want my questionnaire, all questionnaire ready. I said, usually I develop questionnaire after 1 year. Now you want my questionnaire upfront. And then I want to do some interview protocol, everything. So it took me about 1 year until I told them you take back the money. I don't want the money. Because the process is so long. 1 year of my time already done. Waiting for the ring. That's the problem. And then one of the problems I didn't like was they said, okay, research question number 1, how do you calculate your sample size? Research question number 2, how do you calculate your sample size? Understand? So in the medical field, research question number 1 can be t-test. Research question number 2 can be one-way ANOVA. Medical field. Ours is one sample for everything. For the whole model, right? But he's asking question number 1, what is the sample size calculation? Question number 2, what is the sample size calculation? It doesn't make sense, right? Mine is already 1, right? But that's the problem with the person reviewing. They are from medical. And it takes a long time. So
Why medical need different question, different sample size.
No, because they do t-test. Some of the analysis expect sample t-test. So they do expect that. Some they compare different groups, t-test, one way or one. Sometimes they different for that. But ours is only one week that, so they are expecting our research question to be like that. The question is coming from their field, not our field. That's the other problem with the panel. So what you're saying is correct. They should not be looking at, that's why you should have them at the department, not the university. Because some of the panel are from different field, engineering.
Sometimes could be a jump professor.
Yeah, so usually like in Australia, they have in the department, every month they meet, and the people in the same department will look at. But what they want to see is whether your practice are offensive, those kind of. They don't want people to start complaining to the university. We have cases like that. No? Students sit out and then the responder right back to the university, how come you must let the student collect data with this kind of. It's another problem. That's why they did.
Just want to check, like, if the renewable, right, ethics framework is actually comments on side, saying that, like, saying double barrels of this.
Double barrel, this is another problem many people have. The double barrel for some people, they think double barrel is when you have N. You have one term with an N, another term, right? They always think that double barrel. Actually, no,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily. Fast and wrong, they are the same. This is only added empathy. Because many people were trained like that. When they have A and B, they think there's two questions in one. Not necessarily. If they have a sales and profit, there are two questions in one. But now I'm saying fast and wrong, right? They actually added empathy. So that's another problem, like I say, double barrel.
No, I mean, just by saying that word is the double.
That's the thing. Sometimes they are not in the field, from a different field. So they raise issue about it. Actually, they are not supposed to look. They're supposed to looking at the question whether it's sensitive or not. That's the reason why we have the experts here, but not so much of this kind of issues.
True, I guess ultimately it's still perspective. Because it followed the original model.
Yeah.
Original model.
Already done 100 times, right? For you to change, right? That's the problem.
Temporary system is
Yeah.
comes down to here.
They say it's not.
We
I have the problem. This is my department. Some examiners say, oh, anything N means double barrel. This one I have already been just 100 times. How do I change it, right? So those are things that happens. Everywhere in the same. So, okay. This is a good paper for you to read on scale development. Okay. Very recent also very good paper. Okay, I have some flow chart in terms of validation. You may want to look at this. Understand the management well, offer logical reasoning, do not do reverse engineering. And this pre-testing, I think we have a lot of problems in pre-testing. Many places for pre-testing is after you do your questionnaire, you send to 30 people, that's it. I'm smiling, right? Meaning, now it's changing, yeah. But that's the template, must do, right? No need, some situation no need to do. So I'm telling you some of the things you can look at. So this guy is quite good, huh? Agree with that. Okay, next, for validity, right? We have three types of things we will do for measurements. One is called validity, the other one is called reliability, and the third one is called practicality. Yeah. Okay. The validity is measuring, are we measuring what we are supposed to measure? This is what is meant by validity. Yeah. Reliability is the measurement system. So let's say we have a measurement instrument like this. We want to measure weight, and the person's weight is 100 kg. Yeah. We will use a weighing scale, right? This person is slightly bigger. What you do is from the zero, we adjust the lever. At the bottom, there's a lever, right? 5 kg below zero. Not so heavy. So this actual weight is 100 kg, it shows 95 kg. 80 kg will show you 75 kg. Yeah? In this instrument, reliable.
This one.
The term is measurement Is it right?
This one,
Is it valid?
it is not valid.
Because you're not measuring the actual weight. Now you understand, right? We have another situation. Okay, 2 plus 2. We all measure mathematical retail college students. We ask 2 plus 2 equals 1. Is this instrument reliable?
Yeah, it's very, but it's not viable.
Reliable or not? Maybe for your son or daughter also will tell you for, right? It's reliable. Consistency. Yeah. Is it valid? Not valid. Because of this. That's right. Now I change it to kindergarten. Now it becomes valid and reliable. You understand? So this is the basic understanding of measurement. Whether it should be used in that context or not. And the same item was not valid for different setting, but it was valid for this setting. And that's why we need to understand this concept of validity. Instruments which are valid will always be reliable. Instruments which are reliable may not be valid. And that's why I don't care so much about reliability. I focus more on the validity. Okay. This is something we need to think about. So we have three types of validity we will do, intent, criterion, and construct. The one we will do along is this one and this one. Then this one we will do expert or literature review. This one we will do factor analysis called EFA or CFA. That's a choice you make. So this is what we will do. We can use some people to validate. We can also look at the literature review. What is meant by content validity is let's say you want to measure this job satisfaction, right? What are the components of job satisfaction? That's number one. It's called shape. Yeah. That's number one. What else? Promotion. Promotion, right? In some places, the salary tagged to the promotion. In public university, all like that. If you don't move up the next scale, your salary will remain. What else? Go ahead, that's why. Also go ahead. Religious voice. What else?
Here's what.
Co-workers. You call co-workers. What else?
Sterling.
They already kept it. Also the
Training.
it's also the promotion whatever. There's one more. The type of work.
Oh,
The work.
job description.
Yeah.
Job design.
Because some work every day you see accident, right?
Job design.
And like hospital, right? You're working the casualty department every day, things like that. That's what is higher. The lecturer still okay, right? Private, public, the kind of work you do, kind of work you do. So this is why I mentioned. How do I know this? Because this is the author who actually developed this. In 1969 until today, we have the same 5 dimensions, all covered. All covered. The only change is we can all have 72 items to measure this 5 dimensions. 72 items to measure one variable for job satisfaction with 5 dimensions. I actually collected data in 1997 for my master's using data, one variable. Sent out 1,500, came back only 135. 1997. Today, if you send out this question, nothing will come back. So no, this is one variable. We have other variable we need to add to the model, right? Okay. But in 2006, they reduced this 72 into 25. General applies. So if you still want to do, you can take the 25 item, not the 72. Okay. So that's how content validity works. Okay, for contract validity, we will run an analysis called EFA or CFA, right? Why do we call it EFA? Okay, but when you write your pattern number 3, do you write? I don't know yet. Later I will decide. You know, right? But you will temporary amnesia. So 3, you wrote, I already know. Chapter 4, you said, I forgot. I want to explore, right? This is what we have been doing for a long time. When you write chapter number 3, right? You say this variable 3 items, this variable 4 items. You write clearly, right? Suddenly you go to chapter 4, you say, oh, I forgot. No? Let the software tell me. This is what we have been doing for a long time. Because the instructor told you to do that. You also don't question instructor, right? Instructor is little like and see he or she say, okay, right? Western countries not like that. No? They will question the instructor. The instructor cannot answer. They are very prepared, okay? Different. When you go to, I went to pretend Hayes, the chief editor of Academy of Management and Talent. And he was asking lots of questions. We were very happy because all the questions we want to ask, he already asked. So we actually benefited from him. So you must be able to. Problem with EFA is there is no theory. You're saying I have this item, can you tell me how many factors left? The software doesn't know theory, right? The software only knows correlation. What they do is they look at a correlation and then start to assign the item to this one. Right? So if you get result, I think very good, right? Very nice. Huh? This is item here, this is item here. So component 1 is satisfaction, component 2 is commitment. But you don't get like this, right? You get like this, huh? We call it Rojak Pasam. Then we have a Rojak Pasam, right? And they put everything together and they mix that up, right? Now this item is supposed to be here, right? This way here. This item is supposed to be there, coming here. This is what we call as cross logic. This is only 6 items. Can you imagine you have 100 items? And that's the end of your personnel. You don't know what will happen. So we don't do this anymore. This is usually for scale development. If you have to develop a new scale, then you can do this. But most of those scales are already validated. So what we do is we run CFA. When CFA, we are saying this is the variable, this other item. This is the variable, this other item. So item will remain here or get deleted. Item will remain here or get deleted. But this item cannot go here, this item cannot go there. That's why we call them confirmatory factor. We will only do this with structural equation model. Because we can put all together.
So maybe every agent is no longer.
Yeah. You won't see any paper in EFA for a long time, right?
From a PhD perspective.
Because you're not developing a skill. The skills are already validated. We just want to test whether it works.
Let's say you inject a input strong into your system. You have situations where the input strong have culinary issues.
But that one is different. Here we are saying that do the item measure the concern? Do the item measure the concern? You can resolve it. This is called convergent. Across the contract, it's called discriminant. This already tells you they are working well. That's what we are doing. So we don't have to do EFA anymore. We don't have to do EFA anymore. So this is the thing. Effect analysis. Okay, for reliability analysis, we have most of it on this, right? Okay, this one now. Which is called internal consistency, right? Also, we are doing it. So we have some ways we can measure. Are you still using Chroma or not? But for your pilot test, you do what? So that's the average one 30, 40, 50 cannot do CR. What we need to do is instead of Chroma alpha, now we have a newer alpha called McDonald Omega. McDonald's Omega. This is available in SPSS 27, 28, and 29. No. Here is, we are setting the pattern of answer. You can see here, the answer 767. This one will be reliable. Okay. This is a real. Answer 121, right? This is also consistent. Reliability will be high. This one will not be reliable. Because you have too high one low, right? And this item you will need to delete. This is what we are assessing in reliability. Consistency of your answers. Consistency of the answers. So now we can do this analysis called McDonald's Omega, which is available in SPSS 27, 28, and 30. McDonald's Omega. McDonald's Omega.
It replaces a compass.
Yeah. There's only experience that's composed reliability. Right? Okay. Earlier I was telling you about the 72 items. Remember? This is the 72 items from job satisfaction. They by the method and you need to do scoring. Okay, you need to do scoring. Yeah? Okay. Another one is like the technology readiness index. For this instrument, you cannot calculate any score. What you need to do is after you collect your data, you need to send your data to this company by Bharat Suraman. They will do some analysis and give you this. All of the total respondents, all of these explorers can be based on the 4 dimensions, they will classify into these 5 categories. How they do, we don't know. We need to send to them. Okay. So you can use this instrument, you need to ask permission from them to ask them to do this. Okay. And that's why it's like, and this is the one I was telling you internet addiction scale, right? You ask 8 questions and then they answer yes or no. After that, what we will do is we will count all the yes. If you have 0 to 4 yes, then you are non-addict. 5 to 8 yes, then you are an addict. So you classify them into from the 8 items. You need to know how to do the scoring. So this is what I meant by cannot change the scale for this kind of question. So they already have a way of classifying. Okay. Here we have objective and subjective measure, right? Objective measure is like if you ask them annual sales and ask them to fill up. This one you will never get, especially in Malaysia, right? The best measure is asking them like this, but most of the time people will not answer, right? They have an issue of sensitivity, yeah? Especially if we ask the age, right? What is your age? What is your weight? It comes under official secret act. Same thing. If you ask the company how much is your sale, how much is your ROI, nobody will get it. They say you're coming from income tax. So that's the problem with complaining. So what we do is we measure them like this. ROI satisfaction with ROI. But the problem is this is subjective. Some general users don't like it because in the Western countries, they have transparency. You need to report. So before you do this, you need to cite some paper saying that the objective and the subjective measures are correlated. Then you have to. Well, some general don't like it. So these are some papers we decide that and obvious. They found that the objective and subjective measures are highly correlated. That we can do. These are some papers. Okay, next. I think we will take a short break before I start discussing something. When we discuss how to calculate sample size. You have the software Power with you? The phone system. You can install that. I can show you how to calculate. I don't know. Here's some license or not.
Forward the email, right? So this is
It's a long license.
Is that all? That's eight.
No, it's
You have email.
fine.
And then the videos I can release.
That's fine too. Send.
See the cycle.
Very secure. Well, that one is not. This. Data cover, you see, should be the one that there's like. It's not.
It's called your session.
Where's data hub? Where is? Yeah.
Okay, it's me. It's looking for hand on. This talking about
No, 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 go back to the hub. Go back to the email. This one.
you know what next is going.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it is a. Short problem.
Yes.
Next to it. See how it is. Oh, it's fine. Just.
Yesterday one that she did,
Honestly, this is.
17.
I'm not good try.
No, it's another email, that.
She says that.
Yes, I thought she did.
You know, running in like real money. What's this?
G power, G power, and then said that how there was something G power 1.96 for Mac or Windows.
Oh, that's what hours.
Yeah, they are. He was
Then you know opens this.
set up, you can press the setup and they say, or is it any safety
The
like?
key you download this. I can't share it. Download this guy, sponsor. Question of actions.
Okay,
This one is so many.
On power, power free.
here,
Let
let me see. This is something.
I can install already. And install.
You here. Si no, what's yours? I install small units or. Okay.
Not your own brand.
There's a one last time special benefit.
The software is software, it's not even those.
All these features. For examples, because this is for computing you say.
They are the software technology vanilla.
Yeah.
And then they will.
No, even smart areas of future. I subscribe it in you cannot. You can set up our you don't have to increase. They can pay you with the. I installed it like I don't start yeah.
Yeah, correct.
I tell them that in system.
Yes, that is,
Let's not need it. Yeah, now this is small. I have this zero plus. Yeah, I got it.
she,
Oh, no license. No license. Later, like, give it a.
But it's not about license, it's about pricing. Promotions. 1.9%. It's still space.
Yeah, well, back.
Power is analyzes the thing.
Wow,
So it's not here, it's all.
I'm actually.
What is it? That's what we are saying. You can download that. Yeah, but let's see. I mean,
that's street now.
we can see that. After the. It was on the. And it's a bit.
Then how to tell me that I
Please, so, first, yeah, over you click on yes. You know, click on yes.
Then after that,
Yeah. Yes, pretty much controller, it's just
now they started, it's like into security.
Yes.
That's certain things.
there are also yeah. It's better.
What about this? That's it. You have to actually go through. I think get it right. I think you can.
Oh.
And she told me. That's what was right. I know that you want to yeah, I don't have all the decisions. I still need to look into the so then yeah, then after that next and then
That's
so yeah. Maybe get shot, has been shot.
Then you got to
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I will like just. It's really the line. No, I don't want to. I see. Because we see. I'm seeing. Yes.
Give Afghanistan.
Mind get the what is the key? The key. I have a big question.
So they share with you.
What's the choice of the ingredient?
The choice is like, yeah, no, I said in the image, like, it is a problem.
The same I think it's understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You still get the Wi-Fi regardless. Wi-Fi password.
Because no one came to actually install flash drive. It's necessary.
I also look up.
I'm trying to keep the confusing
Yeah, just say the exact.
key
Yeah.
because I really don't get that.
Maybe you don't experience any
No.
Yeah, it's good.
Or from giving the smart player.
Prof said to me, and I just tell him how to that
It's about even I think she checked on the last period. They are not mistaken was seriously.
can you access to email?
Nah, they cannot.
I
So
said,
our email is not as a. There's no one.
you need to, I think
The internet.
by record and
So which one is considered this one?
this one, but I should tell you that you want to, as you want to. Just like,
No, just it's really. No, you can, because, yes. Is it that?
You say she. Hey, this morning.
Just now, yeah.
It's just making up.
Spot.
No, so I think this.
It's absolutely. It's just like it's getting.
You show what it is.
I think it's a,
Yeah, you sit down. Here, this one.
no, this one.
So the password, they give you free more of the application.
You say that this is the one.
This one, okay.
And every time.
Oh, okay.
This one.
This was it. Oh, this is one most long. Myself.
When you contact this one, you get the link.
It's not.
If you contact this, you can see what shot or family. But we also get.
No, there is one hand, like, Okay, this license will end, 31st of July. So you have more than 57 days,
So the problem is.
no, this is the full version. This one, you already saved 280 rupees.
Oh, I have paid subscription and I just paid for it, so I was not mostly pissed off.
No, this one will finish until end of July 20.
You like me, okay.
Solid channel. I will show you only, okay, the G power, I will show you how to do the 7% calculation. Okay, this license fee that I gave you is for a software called Smart PLS Power. This one is for more than 2 months. But you need to install the software and use the license fee. Let I show you how to do that. But your internet system will block your download and all, right? You can do it later. But the license fee you can use, it will last until 31st of July. You use or don't use, it will last until 31st of July. The 1 month license is 28 euro. 28 euro. 2 months license is 50 euro. We attend a free workshop, you get money.
If you have a demo shop.
Thank you, yes, me.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the license fee. So every time end of 31st July, then they will stop.
Oh, is that good?
That's how we do. Okay, so next we will look at 7% calculation, which was X. For simple size calculation, I think people are still using gradient model, right? Are you? You don't let me gradient, please. Gradient model already that. Why are you disturbing me? Okay. For sample, we have this problem called for sample size. We have this issue called representativeness. Many people don't understand what is meant by representative. For statistical inference, you must have a sample that represents your population, not a random sample. Right? There are many people who are fixated with random sample. Right? They say if you don't do random samples, cannot do hypothesis testing. I don't know which planet they are thinking. If that's the case, most of the papers that is already published, they cannot be published. Right? I have hundreds of papers. Most of them are non-random. Okay, non-random sample. The requirement is like this. Your sample that you select from the bigger number. Right? This sample must be representative of the population in terms of their characteristics. Okay. So I'll show you this. Here's the Malaysian population, right? I want to simply know the population, and according to Crabtree and Morgan, right? You take 400, right? Yes, you take 400, yeah. And after I take the 400 sample, Crabtree and Morgan, this is my profile, right? Malaysian 30%, Chinese 50%, Indian 10%, others 10%. So now the question is my sample representative of the Malaysian population? Why?
And so this must be 60%.
Okay. This is what is meant by representative. It has nothing to do with the number, right? I need 400 already. You want 400, right? I give you 400. But it's still not representative. Okay? The percentage is not the same. So that's why. But you don't change it to Penang, right? Then okay now. We need to have, so this representativeness has nothing to do with numbers. It is more about judgment. You need to know the fact. Then only you can say something. Yeah? So that is why most of your study will be purposive sampling. This purposive sampling, many people think only for qualitative, not necessary. For this company, you have a criteria for qualification. Let's say you want to study people who have already adopted AI. The first question you ask is, have you used AI before? Yes, you answer. If not, you stop. So all the people who answer belong to the population. That is how we do filter question to qualify them. Not anybody you select, but you have a filter question to qualify. That's how we represent the
Coming back to this now, first, that purpose and focus you have to determine the sample size. In this case, then you have really determine the sample size.
Without creating all the data, I will show you the calculation.
Yeah, I mean, or G model, G power, whatever, you have to determine the sample size first, right?
No, the thing we determine the minimum, not the best.
Yeah.
Here we already say we need 400. Yeah. Because Raja Mohammed says 1 million population, we need 384.
So you go by G power, the minimum to give to
One below.
bring the design back up.
And on your analysis, what is the minimum?
And therefore, what you just say in terms of safe sampling is on that sample.
Number. The minimum number you need to select. So here, this is the first one. The second one is like this. So we have this population profile. In the Malaysian population, general population, we have 70% Bumi Putra, Malays, Sabah, Sarawak, Vietnam. 22.4% Chinese, 6.8%, 7% Indian and others. This is the profile. So if this profile follows this, then you are saying sample is represented. That is what it meant. So we have another situation like this. I want to study undergraduate student in public university. I also take 400, and this is my sample profile. Male 70%, female 30%. Is a sample representative of the population.
Now more female undergraduate students.
Not now only, from a long time. About 30, 40 years ago. Not worse. That's not the thing. I first said more males than females. Cannot say female. Now the female cannot say the thing. Male is 60, you are evaluated. Not only in Malaysia, everywhere else in the world. So this already tells you the population is not representative because of this setting. That is what is meant by representativeness. Many people don't have this understanding. They always think about number 400. Not true. Even 400 does not actually show it's not representative. So the way you select is important for your analysis. Okay, then we have this calculation of sample size, right? Okay, let me show you the sample size. So one of the calculations we will do is the sample size calculation. And we have this table, which is given in many textbooks. For calculation of this table, two things are important. One is your number of predictors. Okay. And the second one is your effect size. Okay. This effect size, what it means is how strong is the relationship of your variables of study in the population. How strong? If you don't know this, then you take the middle one. Okay. If you know from meta-analysis and all, we can change the number. But if you don't know, we will take the median effect, right? So let's say in your model, you have 3 predictors. The minimum sample needed is 750 for you to run the analysis to detect the effect. This is what is minimum sample. You can take 400. No problem.
Because the predictors includes the motivator and
Yes. Really good. So, one of the challenges is this is the gradient model. 1 million gradient. Still following it. Driving this. And we also another one for also, right? They give you the same number, adik-beradik lah. Rausoff and Rausoff and Gradient Morgan will give you the same number. You put in the 1 million and whatever, you get a 360 score. But there is a clock, you see it? This is the minimum recommended sample size of your survey. If you create a sample of these many people and make responses from everyone, which is very impossible. Very impossible. So you send out 1,000 and then 200 will come back, right? You have 800 who didn't respond, right? So how do you say your sample is still represented? That's why we don't follow this anymore. Okay, so we will use this software called G power. For G power, we need to know these 3 numbers. The number of predictors, the effect size, alpha, and your power. Okay, this effect size, if you don't know, we will maintain at 0.15. That's the median effect. No need to change. The second number which is alpha, you decide 5% or 1%. 5% means 95% confident. 1% means 99% confident. No, this is that much. You want more confident, sample size must be larger. Okay, sample size must be larger. So minimum is 5%. Okay. That number is called power. The default is 0.95. But in social science management, you don't need 0.95 power. Because if they make a mistake, nobody will die. Okay, so still okay. 0.8 is a minimum. There's some literature for that. So number 1, number 2, number 3 will come out in the exam. You can tell the student will come out in the exam, they will remember, right? You can memorize. You can memorize number 1, number 2, number 3. Number 4 cannot memorize. Because I have a different model, you have a different model. So you must know how to calculate your model. Every time I do workshop, I have a homework. When I go back, I have homework to do. Everybody send me their model and they can you calculate the error? Number of prediction. That's a common question. So what I did was now I have a combination of different models you can do on board. So this is the one you need to decide. These three already fixed. Okay. If you want to change, you can, but sample size will go up. Okay. This is the minimum calculation. So this number of predictors, what will happen is we will use this model. Let's say we look at this model. The term used in the literature is when you look at your research model, you look at the biggest regression you have in your model. Biggest regression you have in your model. how many predictors do you have? Let's say we take this model. What is the biggest number of predictors?
2, 3, 4. Three only.
And we have a problem with English side.
Three.
The biggest regression, the biggest regression.
That's right.
Here we have two regressions, right? One is this thing. Okay, the other one is this side. So the biggest regression is this side, right? So first regression is here, right? We have three predictors. Second regression we have one. So the bigger one is 3, right? So you put 3 in the calculator for this model. The biggest number. Let's say we have a model with 3 independent, one moderator, one mediator, and one dependent variable. In this model, how many will be your number of predictors? You have interaction, right? This is not many people want. When we draw this model, this appears in chapter number 2. Okay, chapter number 2. Chapter number 2 is called your conceptual model. Conceptual model, right? Okay. 3 independent, one moderator, one mediator, one dependent. Understand? Okay. But when you test the model, we call them statistical model. Statistical model. Statistical model will become like this. Understand? The 3 independent variables are pointed at this variable. The moderator is pointed here, and we need to create 3 interaction, right? So 3 plus 3 plus 1. We have 7 arrows here, right? Okay. 3 plus 3 plus 1. Okay. 3 1 moderator, right? Mediator, one dependent. This is how you draw in chapter number 2. And test the model in smart realize or etc. Right? What you need to do is you need to take this item, times this item, create an interaction. You will get 1, 2, 3 interaction. So 3 plus 3 interaction plus 1 moderator will have 7 arrows. So this is what is shown here. So when you run the regression, your first regression is what? You have 3 plus 3 plus 1, right? 7. Second one is 1. Okay, so the biggest number is 7. That's how you calculate the biggest number of predictions. Okay, so that's how we have the first model. We don't have array from here to here, right? We only have from here to here. Now we have the 3 arrows also pointing here. Now, how many will be the biggest number of predictions?
4, 3, 6.
4. First model is this side, right? 43, right? Second model, we have also from the mediator to the dimension. We have 4 here. The bigger number is 4. That's how you decide on the biggest number. On the biggest number. Okay. Now, we have just now the moderator was on this side, remember? Shift the moderator this side. Okay. Now I have 2 control variables. 2 control variables, right? This is a moderator, this is a mediator. So now in this model, how many predictors will you have? 5. Okay, you have 1, 2, 3. Then this will also be 1 here, 4, right? Then 1 more interaction. So this is how we do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the interaction. Okay. This is how you can calculate your number of predictors in a model. If they don't have item. This one all don't have item, right? We are assuming everything is reflecting. If you have a model like this, okay. A model like this, so in this model, how many will be your predictors?
This is what I should. 1, 2, 3, 4.
In the most called not small. From here. From there. We see capital, so you can same guy,
Four, four, the definition is four, the higher is four.
Oh, it's four.
I think it's four, one, two,
don't think, huh?
4, 5.
This is four.
Highest is 8, no? Highest is 8. Because yeah,
Oh, yeah. Formative, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
This is from Hare's book. Joseph Hare's book, right? Pierce Primer. This is the model in that. Remember the single item was studied. Nobody asked anything about hair, right? But if you use single item, they say you're wrong. Huh? Don't understand, right? Hair uses single item. One item, remember? Customer satisfaction. One item, behind the. Okay. Okay. After this model, I change. Now my model becomes like this. Now how many predictors?
I'll say seven.
Yeah. How many?
7.
You don't think you know also have a problem. Hold on. All 2 and 3, right? Because you know counter, right? What is going on? Error going on is correlation. Error going is regress. They are not counted. Huh? They come to be this one. Huh? 4. Huh? So the biggest number is 4. That is how you can calculate your sample size, number of errors for your sample size practice. So after you have done that, we have this software, right? G power, can you start G power and you get this, right? After you install the G power, you get this G power, right? Okay. This is the software. Okay. This software can be used for sample size calculation for any kinds of feedback, conveyor, NOVA, correlation, regression. Before we do the analysis, we are now doing regression, right? In regression, the norm and the alternate hypothesis is R square equals to 0.
R square
Not equals to 0. R square not equals to 0. This is what we call a test model overall model, whether we have a model or not. So when we run regression, the most important table in regression, the most important table. What is the most important table you need to look at in a regression now?
T value.
The table called ANOVA. ANOVA table. There's a table called ANOVA, right? If the ANOVA table is not significant, then you stop there. No need to look at any numbers. Because it's telling you you don't have a model at all. That is the first factor. This is the test. ANOVA. So then when we pick the model here, when you click this down, right? You can see here, we have this F test, right? So when you pick this F test, all these will change according to the table you have. Here we are doing test, right? Select test, F test. Once you change here also will change. Let's click the F test. And then what will happen is you have a long list of ANOVA, MANCOVA. Okay? ANOVA, MANOVA, MANCOVA, right? Okay. The one you want to pick is this one, R square deviation from there. Fixed model, R square deviation from there. This is the hypothesis they are testing. This R square deviation from there. And now if we move your mouse here, they give you the effect. Hit 1 million likes. 1 million likes. Since we don't know, we will keep at million. No need to change the number 1. Hit your mouse here, right? They give you the number. Okay. This one will not change, yeah? The second one is 5%, right? alpha we are setting at 5%. If you want to change to 1%, it will ask you to collect a bigger number. That's why we keep at 5%. No need to change. The third one you can change. This one you can change to 0.8. 0.8.
Power is type 1 today.
No, this type 1. This is type 2. Alpha is type 1. This is type 1, this is type 2. Okay, 0.15, 0.05, 0.8. There's some literature to support this. So you don't have to play do it. Okay,
The 8 in this one is the large effect size.
this one is for power. This is the number we will use for calculation. There's a paper. So you can. Okay. Every time I do workshop, they will ask me for a citation. So this is the citation. This is the paper. Geffen, number 75. Geffen et al. This is a very good paper on diagrams in factorization modeling. Some of the things I discussed is actually discussed in this paper. So the one you want to look at is here. When you go to see, today I already discussed with you, right? Number of observed variable, the number of items. Okay. Then I discussed this common mental bias, right? This is 2011, already discussed okay? In this journal. And then you have unidimensionality, unimulti, okay? And then you have alternative model. This is where the sample size comes in, right? So here it says here. This is the number I think 0.8 is the minimum. 0.8 is the minimum. Yeah, okay. So that's the reason why we change to 0.8. Okay. And then the last number here, right? Is your number of predictors. Okay. So based on your model, just now the last model we have 4, right? So we put in a 4, they will give you a number. Okay, what it tells you is for a model with 4 predictor maximum, the minimum sample size needed is 85. Minimum, not the best. You can collect more. You can collect more. So you can also do what is analysis. If you want to change, right? Let's say you want to change. Now the minimum is 85, right? You think 85 is too small, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you change this to 1%. The rest all don't change, only the alpha change to 0.01. What will happen is the sample size number will go up. If you want 99% confident, you need to collect 190. So you can actually do this kind of what you analysis. But just now when I said for you the minimum.
So you put this, does it mean to say that for p value, that we monitor 0 from 0?
No. That's not. This one is
just sample size.
Sample size, yeah. So when you run your analysis data, we have 0.05 and 0.05. You can decide whichever one you want. Many people use 5%. Okay, so that's different thing. Here we are saying for sample size, what is the minimum number to collect?
So if sample size more than 1.4, then mean that we reject the hypothesis now.
No, 119. We must say 119.
That will be reject hypothesis now today.
No. What it's telling you is you need a minimum sample size of 190 before you can trust your analysis. That's it.
But the hypothesis is not.
This one is saying why we pick the R-square deviation from 0 because of this. The option. This is the reason why we take. This one is telling you the minimum sample size needed for this analysis is 190. Anything more than that, you are safe. Anything less than that, you cannot.
I said that
We have cite this one,
Yeah.
how we get them.
Yes, sir. You can screen shot or very short.
That means if this sample size and the model consider fit, is it?
No. What you are saying your sample size is enough. Your analysis has enough power. So we can trust your analysis. If it's sample size is less than this, we cannot trust it.
So the next question is that, why 0.01? Why not 0?
I said 0.01 all the way. I said minimum.
Yeah, but we have option to change that to
Yeah, yeah.
0.01, right?
You think you want the
We were listening to the
you want more confidence. You want higher confidence, right? Then you take a bigger number. If you change your effect size, this number will also increase a lot. Okay, so that's how what is the analysis you can do. What we just now calculated 85, what the number everybody uses. Saying that this is the minimum number needed for analysis, but we can collect now.
So along the same formula, I can still put it 0.01, right?
Can. You can decide now.
Was doing social sciences taking. So they have like big number or computer science for if you feel engineering.
I was not sure because in the still school, I found the paper, gravity rules, so they will ask me, can you give me a citation? So that's the reason. I'm not sure in other areas.
Yeah, what happened if you want to do part of class? Then we follow this one, but then our sample size is, our class is like 30 students. So we cannot do.
Oh, that's a different thing. This one is, if you're planning to run regression, you're running to run t-test, that's a different sample set. Not the same. Like, simple t-test, repeated manager and what, the sample size changes because you are using t-test. That will be smaller. The t is already okay. For t-test, right? But this is for regression. This is for regression. Yeah. If you change it, right? See this t, right? The t-test, right? If you take the t-test, and then now you can see all the text angle and so on. Who's having right? And you can have another next test. You can also do repeated measure and one and so on. Emphasize calculation is different for different different tests. Okay. Now I want to show you the smart waves. How many of you already have this software? So I will show you some of the things available in smart waves. How many of you are still using Station?
Just a few minutes.
What areas? What areas? What the you also have any country? I had I bilang. How about you?
Education.
It's a lot of they use a lot of it. This is a software that is available, which is very, I think this is one of the easiest software I ever learned in my 35-year career. I haven't seen any other software easier than it. Accelerator is much more easy. When you come to EFA, that's very challenging. But in this software, they started with only one, which is called the PLSM. Now they have expanded. Now we can also do AMOS. Not AMOS. That's called covariance based. Okay. They also introduced another PLS analysis called ESCA. This is also very powerful, no complex. This is developed by a Korean guy. Here's a 50-page manual. You can try it out. Okay. So we can also do it from here. Okay. And then we have another one called Process. Process is a software you need to use. If you want to do moderated mediation, moderated moderation, then you have to use Process. Okay. And this number 5 is regression, like what you do in SPSS, right? You can also now do it in PLS. Previously cannot do. Previously we also get unstandardized data, but now we can get standardized data. So these are the 5 options you have. And if you want to try out any of the software here, right? They have sample here. You see here? Just click any of them, you will add here. Okay. You click here, they will add. You unclick, they will go back. Okay. So these are some of the things you can try out. So if you see here called PLSM, this is from the textbook, and textbook, right? If you want to try out the sample they give in the data, you can use this, click it, and then they have a shorter version, the bigger version. You can try this out. That is how we do it. Okay, for the first one, which is PLSM, this is the easiest. So if you click, if you install this software, after you install the software, you get it. Do you have the red color somewhere? Do you have the red color?
No, install more of them.
Okay, now when you first start install, it will be red color. What you need to do is you need to tell them where you want to save your file. You need to create a folder called the workspace, anywhere in your desktop, at a location where you can save. Sometimes you put in the C drive, right? They cannot save. Then they will not accept. You can put anywhere, and that's software. So when you start the software, one of the things you need to do is under the Smart PLS, this is the first line. They will give you the 6 lines. So the first time you download, it is called the student version. Student version never expires. It's for life. The only problem is it can only run 100 cases for you. 100 cases of it will run, no problem. And when you get an output, you can only look and see. Cannot copy and paste. If you write to copy, they will tell you go and buy the library. Student version. If you have more than 100 cases, they will tell you you have too many data. They will not run. That's a student version. The license fee that I gave you, long one. What you need to do is you need to click this switch icon. Okay. Once you click the switch license, they will give you this license here. So you need to deactivate your student version. Then you activate the professional license. And this professional license will work until 31st of July. Okay. So if you activate today, you will get 61 plus maybe 71, 70. Tomorrow you get 1 day life. Tomorrow you get 2 days. They already started. They don't let you keep the license anymore. They start from the day. So that's how it works. Like I have 38 days like that. It will expire on the 1st of July. They already give you a date. Okay. So that's how the license fee works. They don't have any manual. The manual is a book by Joseph Henry. For those who want to change your language, you can do it here. Preference, right? If you click the preference, you can change the Chinese language or Russian or Arabic. What will happen is everything will change to the language. The menu will be in Chinese. The writing all will be in Chinese. Okay? The Chinese students love this. Let's put that and I'll put it in Chinese. So this is not the they also like the dark. Like color. If you change the dark, the background will be dark. Those are changes in the history. Okay. Authentic. Okay. The other thing is here, under here, we can check the update. If you click the update, they will tell you whether you have the data version. Now and then they will give you a new update. License fee doesn't change. Need the version change. They will update for you. Okay. One of the things you will get here is this under the about. This is the current version 4.1.1.2. The license agreement to use the software is every time you write a paper, you need to set. Okay. So in chapter number 3, you write that I use Smart PLS4 in bracket, you put renewal and all 2024. And then at the end, you copy and paste this size as a reference. And that's a requirement for using this software. Okay, so for using the software, you can use any kind of data. Your data can be in SPSS. It can also be in CSV. Previously, we have to be in CSV. Now no need. Now we can run them direct. Yeah. So the first thing you do is software is, let's say I want to create a new file. When you click the new project, okay, you click create new project. The first thing you need to do is you need to give a name for a project. Okay? Any name you want to put, you can. Long name, short name also you can. But you need to think so long. You can do project, one project, 10 minutes for the name. Yeah. And then it can do, like let's say we put here a UOW1. Okay, so what they will do is they will create a folder called UOW1. Every folder must have at least two files. One is the drawing file, the other one is your data file. These are the two required. Drawing file and the data file. After you click create, what will happen is they will show you like it. You see it? UOW1, then your import data file and create. This data file you must have already created in SPSS or Excel. Now we have Excel file. The file I gave you, you said, right? So I will click here, import data file. This is the file I shared with you, you stage. Okay, once you click open, what will happen is they will tell you what are the items you have in your model. These are the items you already. Now listen a bit, because we are listening properly. Okay. I have the variables called adjective. You see, I have label there adjective 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And all three variable what numbers are there. So I have 5 items to measure adjective. I have another 4 items to measure subjection norm. I have another 4 items to measure BBC. They're all grouped together. Why this is good is later when you want to draw, you need to drag and draw. Okay. That's all the software ranges done. And here we have the scale. Okay. You usually keep them as metric. One of the problems with the software is your scale is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But your respondent only pick number 4 and number 5. They will not use metric, they will change. So you need to change them back to metric. Okay? Because we have only 2 categories. So that's how the software understand. Okay. Missing value you have to do in SPSS. You have to do in SPSS. We have many missing value replacement available, you do that. So once we click the import, right? Yeah. What will happen is they will open and then they will give you all the description. For item 1, what is the mean, minimum, maximum, everything they give long list. If you have to copy and make your thesis longer, you can do that. You are the thesis and edit and analytics digital and yeah, long, right? Only that. So you can click this back arrow. And what will happen is you get a screen like this. Okay, so now we have already accessed the data, and my data set has only 165 K. Okay, automatically they understand. So now we want to create our research model, right? We need to click this create model. Once you create this model, these are the 5 options you have. Which one you want to? Okay, which one you want to? When you click the create model. Okay, when you click the create model here, what will happen is you see here we have 5 options, right? Migration, process, design, whatever. What you can do is you can start with VLSM. If you want to convert to CBCM data also can. They will convert to it. Not a problem. Okay. So I usually do with this one first, and then you put model number 1. If you convert to another model, it becomes model number 3, model number. Okay, so we will pick VLSM, and then I put a model number 1. Okay, so this is how the thing you can fill up. Once you say this, what will happen is they will open canvas for you, which is like this. That's it. Okay, so you have this, right? You see? Now you have a screen, you need to draw. This is a graphical user software. So we have the first variable called execute, right? We need to select all the items and drag and drop. Okay, like this, so like this, attitude 1 to 5, and I drag and drop, right? What will happen is they come up with this ATT, right? This is not the full name, right? I can type in the name. Okay, so I type in attitude, and then when I press enter, automatically you see the item is reflecting, right? Okay. So if you want to move the item, what you do is you click on this. We have this option here, right? And see, to move it to the right. So we move it to the right. Okay. And then if you want to move this, we have to use a manual lorry. Yeah? They don't have an automatic lorry like Gmod, right? Gmod is the lorry icon, right? No more. Here don't have. We drag it here. And then the second variable, let's say we take usage. Yeah? We have 5 variables, right? Okay. And then press here. If you see the alignment, can you see the alignment? Okay. Then you can let go. Okay, that's how you draw your model. If you see the color is red, right? They say they will not be able to run the model because you are not connected. So you must connect them. That's the first thing. So what you do is there's a connector here, right? This one. Connect. Okay. And you have to drag and connect. If you like this, let go until tomorrow. Okay, it's not joining, right? You have to join here. Now it's stuck, right? Okay, now you see the color thing. Now it's telling you you can run your model. This is the basic model of drawing. So if you want, this is not very big, right? What we do is we can use this to make it bigger. Okay, so I can drag this, right? Can you see now a bit bigger? Now else you buy a big screen, then you can see you have, right? This is how you draw the one, right? Like this, not very sharp, right? Okay. What you can do is just click this black and white. Once you click the black and white, you have a very nice drawing, right? Very sharp, right? You are not happy with the figure. You are we can click here on the circle, on this circle, right? Now they have added the shape, yeah. Shape, right? No, yeah. That's the shape. Okay, this one, okay, this one. Okay, you don't like circle, you can take a hexagon or here I put hexagon, that side I put octagon. Hexagon, then here I change to octagon. So now I have a different angle. Sekarang tu jangan happy with the straight arrow, you want to make it more crooked. Like this, you click here, then you pull that. Now you can do this kind of editing. So we can edit. So this is how basically you draw the model. After you draw the model, you need to save it. Once you save, next time you open, it's already. So let's say you want to copy this and paste in your presentation, right? You just right click and then copy image. Like that. Okay, right click, export to image, right? And then once you click this, they copy to a temporary folder. You can open any software and paste. What will happen is you get the same drawing, you copy again. That can be your research model. That is how you copy and paste. Then copy and paste the drawing. If you want to hide the item, so you can. Let's say you want to hide this item, right? What you do is you click here and right click. We have this hide item, right? Once you hide the item, we become this error. So this is good if your model is very large, right? Items are overlapping, we can hide one variable. You want to hide all variables also. Okay, that's one thing to get. Okay.
Oh, this is okay. You change
Yeah.
of the article of the
Right click here. You want to model, right? We can't. Negative. That's how fast you can do that. Don't do today like this, tomorrow, next. That's how I have here. No need to do this. Ready, huh? So this is what I want to do. So to do the analysis, we have calculate here or we can do calculate here. Both we do the same option. These are the options here. Most people use this one and this one in combination. Number one and number two. Number one will give you all the data value, the R square, so on. The tracking will give you the T value. And the T value. So that's how you use the data. And also now we need to report this here already. That's it. Also the things we want to know is IMA. IMA is right. Most of the time the other woman is This is the one that is again. When you did click this, okay, algorithm. Okay, this one they already set for you, but the only thing is usually untick this one. Just will be tick. That means they will show you your data, your text output. I want to see only the drawing, so I untick. When I start calculation, I did, you see we already have all the loading, right? All this loading, right? So how do you expect? We look at this loading, right? Anything low loading, we will do it. Okay. Anything low loading here, we will do it. Okay. So what will happen is when you first start, it will realize it. If you delete this item, all the numbers will disappear. Then you have to rerun the data. Okay. Instead of doing that, I did that. So I show you now. So I want to delete this item because low loading, right? So when I delete this item, the number all disappear, right? Now I have to rerun. So instead of that, what you do is you run first algorithm. Before you delete, at the bottom here, there's a link here, right? You see? Recalculate automatically. You need to enable it. Sometimes you have enable it. So once you enable it, once you delete the item, they will automatically replace it. Now model. But if I enable it, okay. And then once I delete this item, the software automatically recalculates. No need to run manually. Here all the items are okay. Then we can delete this item here, right? Okay. So once you delete this item here, what will happen is now everything looks okay. Yeah? So if you move your mouse here, they will give you ADE, CR, chroma, alpha, everything directly from the drawing. Like this. One design is very good is this one and ADE. Right? These are samples we can quickly get it. We remove to this side. We will also get the numbers direct. This is what we get now in the software. Very graphical, right? Any question on the manual one?
Omega is not inside.
They use this one. Proceed. This is what we have. You see now, 0.95. The computer reliability row C 0.96. The computer reliability row A will be in between that. We see comes on reliability now. Three comes reliability, yeah. Now we have been doing for a long time called Rama Alpha. It always underestimate the true reliability. It will be lower. C will overestimate. OA will correct the over and underestimation. So now in the new paper by head, he suggests maybe you want to report row A, which is more conservative estimate.
When you look at this, row A and row C, choose same.
They are lower. This is all this will be your row C, yeah, this will be your row, no, this will be your compound. Let's say your true reliability is 0.8, right? This is your true reliability, yeah. Gamma alpha will give you 0.7, rho C will give you 0.9. Okay. So rho C always overestimate, gamma alpha always underestimate. So that's why it came up with a reliability of rho D to correct the over and underestimation. So now the new paper by head, he suggests maybe you want to report rho A, yeah, which is a more conservative estimate. It doesn't overestimate, doesn't underestimate.
Omega are under which
Omega is not see the problem.
mostly
It's not rho A lah. So, but I usually report rho C.
is a conservative.
No, I report rho C which is higher. So which is higher. So we can decide. Okay. Most papers you see they report rho C, not rho A.
Okay, so what do we do? We report OC over here.
No, you can. I always report.
Okay.
No, you can report. The only problem is this. Item 4, item 3, item this one will be variable. This one will be variable. Item 3 item. There are many items which will be variable. So we need to balance. Then you want to report this one. Any questions on the measurement model part? So this is what we call as the graphical output. Graphical output. So we also have the text output here. Can you see this one? Open food report. Okay, when you open food report, they also show you the same drawing, but they give you more output here. You see? We can actually move up and down. Just now we were showing you the alpha reliability and all, right? You have this constant reliability and variability. Can you see? If you click this, they will give you a table, a very nice table, which is here. And now since you are not very good at numbers, right? Bigger than, smaller than, also you have problem, right? Now they give you color position. Fast and pale, right? Red means pale, green means fast. So if the color blind and not blind, then you are sensitive. Yeah, now they give you color light. All of them are green, right? It means you pass the threshold. This is what it means. And then we have another one for discriminant variability. Right? This one measures whether the variables are highly correlated using a HCM. That's how the output. So if this all this output you want to save, you can also do that with Excel or HTML. I really like HTML. Very nice. Output is very nice. Okay, like it. You click the HTML and then you click save. So what will happen is they will open with your browser, and this is how the output will look. Right? Then you can scroll down slowly here. There are many things here, right? Okay. So this is how they save the output. But if you want to save one output at a time, so you can. Yeah. The next one, right? Let's say you want to copy only this table, right? This button. Copy to Excel, and then you can paste in your Excel or Word file. They will copy the table, this table. That's how the software, you can copy one table at a time, or you want to save all the files also. Okay. Okay, so all the things you need is already here. We have looked at multi-collinearity, they also give you here. Yeah, collinearity statistic. That's for multi-collinearity. Yeah. Then we have all the three values also we give one. We have one of the things we are talking about called F square, remember? Effect size. It's already calculated. F square.
Yes, the same applies to voltage.
Yeah.
So for me,
Model field, I don't like to use but it's still not use you can. I don't really want that. So these are some of the things you can. Okay. Then we have we already have this beta value, right? We want to know whether this beta value is significant or not. Then we have to run a procedure called bootstrapping. Okay. So when you run bootstrapping, These are the options, calculate, bootstrapping. Okay, these numbers have changed, now it's no more 5,000, it's 10,000, this one we will run complete slower. This will run one tail and then fix it. So I will explain now. So now we're running 10,000 bootstrap because when you run 10,000 times, the distribution becomes very normal. Okay. This complete slower will give you a lot of output. A lot of output which you want to use or don't use later, you can use. The percentile bootstrap is a new change. Previously we were doing bias corrector and accelerators. Now we are suggesting to use percentile. Okay. This is where you decide whether you want to do one tail or two tail based on your hypothesis. So if you do one tail, your report is already corrected for one tail. Only to divide by half and they are remember? Because where they don't have option. This one has a one tail or two tail. If your test is positive relationship or negative relationship, you should change this to one tail. If you don't have direction, you're saying that is a significant relationship, give it a two tail. That's how you see that. This one is a new addition to Formula. So previously in Formula 3, every time you run, there are different key values, right? Okay, you close open, you get different value. Everything you have to revise, right? Now no need. We can pick the fixed C, right? Every time you run, you get the same result. So those are options in Smart LS4. When you run this model, just quickly run this calculation. What will happen is they will give you the p value directly in the drawing. Okay? Here they give you this number, right? What is this number? We calculate. They have this structural measurement. You see? Structural measurement. Structural is this one. Measurement is this one. Okay. So include the structural. And what will happen? You have some poison. We can change it to path coefficient and t value, or you want path coefficient with p values. You can. So now we get the path coefficient and p values directly. Yeah. So these are the addition they have made to Smart LS. So the same table, they will give you now. You open the full report. They will give you the same result in the path coefficient. But the additional thing they give you is the color coding. Can you see? Green color and red color. Green color means significant, red color means not significant. It's less than, more than, so you will call it. It's also
Here, from how we know whether this is one.
Oh, you want to positive. When you want positive, right? You already say that's a positive relationship. So now we run the one day. Your hypothesis there's a significant relationship, you run with two them.
I don't understand, but what say this is the result, right? So the result just shows p value.
Right.
And so how we know it's one of the.
No, but this is already running at one day. So
That's because of the configurations that you have.
so if you rerun this number, so this one is already zero. If you run one tail or two tails, you still get zero. But sometimes you get 0.06, right? You run one tail, you get 0.03, two tails 0.03. So that's why we have to be careful.
Okay, so if you have configurations that you have done, it's not crystal correct. Two tail, let's say.
You still can calculate that, right? Like in Excel yesterday I showed you.
Yeah.
I've seen many papers like that. They say they are testing positivity is one tail, but the results are actually two. So we can actually recalculate. Remember yesterday I showed you the Excel. Just put in the number, you get this number. This number, who's is 10,000, right? 10,000 minus 1 minus 1, and you put 9998, they will give you a p value. Then you can compare with this p value. So next we can. So these are results for your structural model. Then you can. So now they give you very nice name. This is how you can look at it. Okay, so after you run this, let's say you have a very complex model. You can convert this to another analysis. What you need to do is just click here convert, and they will give you an option. Like if you want to do CB set, right? So I want to change now to CB set, huh? And I put model number 2, right? So what they will do is my model now will be get converted. You see? Let's have a look, like your Amos, like your Amos. If you want to try guest star, you can also do this. Under your PLSM, I just click convert and then I change it to guest star and I change it to model number 3. They will change it like this. Okay. And if you want to try the fourth one, convert, I change to process and number 4. They will change it to square. Why square? Because they will take the average. They will take the average. For process, they take the average. Right? So this is how you can convert your model from one to another. On the
The control group, what is it?
I see a slide on that.
Like so many new things.
Yeah.
It's
This one is the robustness test. Test we will tell you what. For it, then we also have a Gaussian formula. We are putting to the main level, another one called Gaussian formula. This is your robustness test. Non-linearity, this is the question. And you know, on variables, just now we get in a different spec. In this software, different. In this PLSM, they don't have one. Now, I think there was Kafka or process, right? So, maybe they are different. So it's in the option you get. Which one change color and font, all you can do is here. But these are some of the options they have in this software. So in this software, it's now very, very popular for analysis. Quite easy and not very rigid.
How about the new mediation? Simple or?
Very simple.
Okay.
Like moderation is very straightforward. Like this. After you draw this model, what you do is just connect this to this arrow.